Road's men allow you to pass through Clarence and Warrensis. You pass through the empty lands of Tribute. No one blocks you along the way. There are many bandits along the road to Kinneton, but the city itself is guarded by a castle, and there's news there that while bandits roam free throughout the forest, many of them find grisly ends through some unknown means. There are stories of female knights roaming the woods on unicorns, stabbing male bandits to death and hanging them upside down from trees. Many
And this is in Lambor?
This is in Tribute,
Okay.
Okay.
in the city of Kinneton.
So right by the forest of
It's south of Lambor. Yeah.
Got it.
As you pass into Lambor, you are joined by troops from the Duke of Lindsey, who sends a combined force from Lambor and Bedegrain, pulling them off the front lines of Camliard to escort you along the King's Road north even further to Catterick. Eventually you pass through the lands of Malahut, which are in contest with a group of Saxons, all of whom recognize your very large, very competent military force and back away cleanly. At Catterick, King Urans meets you in person. The escort is large enough to be safe even on the dangerous Ragged Road, and the wedding party reaches Guyholm Castle without incident. Guyholm has a triple-sized motte, a bailey large enough to graze cattle within, and tall timber walls atop a double ditch and mound. Despite the castle's size, the residents themselves are not the giants outsiders claim to be. This is one of the most heavily defended fortresses in all of Britain. And everyone from the Northlands is here for the celebration. Margaise and Ellen, Morgan Le Fay's two elder sisters, are present with their children, so it is a great family reunion. Also present are the daughters' husbands, King Lot of Lothian and King Nentres of Garloth. Many tribesmen loyal to Gore have also come from the mountains all around for festivities. These rough northern men all are in old-fashioned clothes and thick accents. Pagan rites are used exclusively, and Christianity is spoken of only in corners. So, what would you like to do at this feast? They basically have everything here. There's horse races going on outside, people are fighting, there's lots of drinking contests.
This is a new territory. I haven't really asked around the general word of this area, so it
Of
seems
course.
like a first step. See what people have to say up here.
Well, who are you looking to speak to, and on what subject?
Someone who's not from the south, basically.
That's almost everyone there, yes.
So, almost anybody here.
Okay, and on what subject?
General activities in the area, things
Alright.
that have been ongoing.
Yeah, so you meet with a man whose name's Garyholm, and he says, "Ha! You think you can come from the south and speak with us? Well, you're welcome here as long as you don't pass Hadrian's Wall, small southern man."
What do you mean by this?
He's like, "Hadrian's Wall! It keeps you southerners out from our glorious northern country."
What would you say is glorious up there?
Everything's glorious. The highlands, the lowlands, the alcohol, the redheads.
And you're not just saying this because your president up there went crazy or something like that, right?
He's like, "President? What
You know,
the
Did you
hell
watch
is
the
a
recent
president?"
South Park episode?
Yeah, sorry. Never mind. You know, leader. Yeah.
Leader. We lead ourselves.
Okay, so it wouldn't be this. I'm glad at least Erik got it.
So he launches into a discussion with you about the various events happening in the north. Apparently, most of the people here are actually enemies to each other, but like most things involving the north, the instant that outsiders show up, they all completely align themselves against the southerners. And all blood feuds are set aside for the wedding feast so that they can get drunk and make fun of people like you. You know,
I,
tiny cowards.
Civ is the kind of person to play along with it as well.
Yeah,
To
so
get more information.
yeah, I mean, if you're playing along, you can make another intrigue roll as like more and more northern men come over and they're like, "I heard that in the South they like to drink their own piss. Is this true? Do you distill beer from your own urine?"
We do not, but the taste is there. Just kind of get humor to get him going.
Yes.
Though anybody who actually understands his mannerisms can tell that it's obviously him playing along.
Yeah. You learn a bit more. There was no talk in the North about the incident that happened with Morgan and the Queen Igraine at Amesbury Abbey. Anytime you try to feel something out about it, they're all like, "What? Amesbury Abbey? I don't even know where that is. What do you mean there was an attack there? Ha, you're drunk."
On your good liquor, not liquor. On your good ale, certainly. Because getting on their good side.
Yeah, I think we cut over to Sir Marcus right now. There's a bunch of like druids with like incense burners like wandering around him, putting incense in his face. There's like 3 of them walking around him in a circle with these incense burners, chanting some strange words, and then they walk away.
So they're also screwing with him.
Yes, of course. Screwing with Southerners is a national pastime of the North. Anosh? I think we might have lost him again. What are you doing, Adewald?
I mean, he's just going to be sort of generally social, sort of participating in the feast, etc. So you said there was just general festivities going on around?
Yeah, I mean, any possible event you could think of is happening. This is an enormous wedding party. This is almost as big as when Uther got married.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I mean, he doesn't really have anything he's all that interested in. Oh, you know what? I'll just do a temperate roll, see how much he drinks.
Excellent, because I think someone challenges you to a haggis eating contest. Let's see if you can resist the urge for herbal. Ooh. Nope! You just dive right in there. You're just like, haggis! So good! Nom, nom, nom. Yeah, can you mark a, can you roll for what's the opposite of temperate?
Traits, temperate, indulgent.
Oh, yeah. Of course it's indulgent.
We'll see. Yeah. Go ahead and mark a check in indulgent. But, yeah, you don't get super wasted off of it. But, yeah, your temperance... yeah, you don't, like, make a fool of yourself eating enough haggis to, like, barf it up everywhere and spill drink all over yourself. But you definitely are a little looser today than you normally would be. You're loosey-goosey. They try to feed you bezoar as well. I think I pronounced that right. Bezoar. Yep, the small stony concoction that comes from the stomach of certain animals. Bezoar. Yep, sounds about right. Basically kidney stones for goats. They're like, come on! I heard that you like this kind of stuff in the south there, Sir Adewald.
It's good for particular ailments.
Ah, if you were a werewolf, you could eat this and you'd get better.
Anosh, are you still there? I want to hear your response to that.
I think he might be down and out.
Mm.
So...
Really? Oh.
The feast is lavish, and usual feast opportunities arrive. Afterward, the queen tells the knights that she's going to remain in the north with her daughters for a while, and that you should ride home without her. She gives each of you the gift of a Roman spatha, a gladiator's sword, which was blessed with certain holy Roman rites. Each of these swords is worth £1 each. For your help, and sees to provisioning for your journey and arranges for a guide to bring you down the road and to the borders. The guide takes you to Cabernet, but after leaving Duke Eskin's city of Cardwell, you are on your own. So, you're now stuck in Regep, alone, having to travel the entire countryside without hundreds of guards as escort.
So can you ping where we're left?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can.
Oh, fun. So, looks like we're going to start heading south, and you're just going to tell us just how screwed we are as we go.
Oh, I mean, what could you do to try to stay more under the radar on a long trek like this?
Probably not dress as knights, for one thing.
Well, I mean, I don't think Adewald's going to demean himself like that.
Demean himself. How demeaning is it when you have an arrow sticking out of your neck? Alright, well, while you're figuring out what the three of you are going to do, you had heard tales at the wedding that there is banditry all up and down the King's Road in Regep, all the way to Catterick, and there are numerous independent lords who owe themselves to no knight and are simply bandit raiders who will ambush anyone by the wayside who they think they can easily kill and get away with it. Use coconuts instead of horses. Yes, thank you. Monty Python cat.
Well, I mean, in that case, it's actually a worse idea to try to go under the radar in that way.
It would be a bad idea to be under the radar without armor.
Yeah. Because it looks like we can take care of ourselves.
So,
It should be noted, because you would know this, if you had a giant pile of money, you might be able to go to Cardwell and hire a boat.
I don't know if we would have brought a giant pile of money.
Right.
Yeah.
However, we do have things that are worth £1 each. Is that
looking
enough?
more like £5 each.
I think it's time to sell a horse. Sound right to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you can just get a new horse when you go back, so...
Yeah. I think that's the plan. Does that sound right to you, Kroama?
I don't know how much better I'd fare at sea, but is it like the sea's generally safe? Like it's that kind of voyage?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the west side of Britain, you can
Also,
probably get
we
as
only
far
need
as...
to go to Cheshire or Legions because that's all our ally.
well, Nantuliot is not technically your ally.
We allied with him this year.
He's not a bandit.
No, last year, while you guys were getting drunk at the feast, there was a question as to who you would like to see as King of England. It wasn't like, we're going to ally with these people. I was asking you as a GM, like, who you would like to see as
I thought
king.
my impression was that for this year, our decision when we were asked
I don't think we're allied with them right now.
So who are we allied with?
My current alliance standard says that you're still allied with Essex Sussex.
Oh, my impression was that we hadn't allied with them this year and we had allied with Nantuliot.
No. Nantuliot has offered you nothing.
Okay. Alright, got it. But he's probably fine with us going through his territory, and it'd be a lot safer.
He has granted you safe passage before. He's also granted you conditional passage before.
I think it'd be a lot safer to go over to there than going all the way around past Cornwall and Cerdic lands.
I will listen to Adewald as he is the most glorious, but
because we don't have any other ports that we can get to.
Mm.
Because otherwise we're going through Essex and Sussex ports, or we're going through Cerdic or Cornwall.
Could land in Pembroke. You're always welcome there.
Where's Pembroke?
Pembroke, the field lands of King Orcus.
Well, once.
Well, he's dead now, so they're probably actually okay with us right now.
Yeah, I heard that's
not
how
so
it
deal.
works when you hate somebody for a decade. As soon as the person leading you dies, your hatred disappears.
Oh, I
So-
mean, do you want to sell your horse for it? I don't know. I
I mean,
wouldn't
if you
mind.
sell your horse to get on the boat, it's going to be a really long trip back wherever you land at.
Mhm.
Unless you go as far as, say, Calewint or Carlion.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me
All
where
right.
you want to make port for, and we can dicker for a price.
I don't know, Kroama, do you have a suggestion for how we want to do it? Or
Not
do
a
you just
single
want to
one.
take the land route back?
I don't want to get rid of my horse, so
All
it's up
right.
to you.
I'm fine with taking the land route. We'll do it. We'll just be really, really cautious.
Well, it's mainly this portion.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can we make ourselves seem stronger without
Well,
a
there is
chopper with
just
us?
traveling at night. Just try and ride fast at a time and hope they don't catch us.
Can't do. I keep on looking at my skills. Like, is there something I can do that can make me seem make the group go along better? And
Why
I
don't
keep
you do
on.
an intrigue to see if you
I
can figure out
can't.
anything?
I mean, like, if we were already on the road, maybe I could ask people about it. But
I mean, there's lots of people from the area will be at the feast because everyone is at
we
the
already
feast.
left the feast.
Yeah, they basically were just like, well, thanks for showing up. Boop, push you out the door.
Okay.
Almost like it was intentional.
Maybe I'll go along. Do we know generally how they lead their attacks, or is it just like them looking at the road and be like, "Oh, there we go. There's one."
You probably don't know how bandit attacks go specifically in the north.
Yeah.
In pretty much everywhere in Britain, as far as you know, bandit attacks are like a bunch of people jump on as few people as possible, beat them, leave them wounded and unconscious, and take all their stuff. Because the penalty for, wounding someone and stealing is way less than the penalty for, like, death.
Hmm.
Well, Adolf, if you just want to go, we can just go.
I mean, I don't see much of a.
Civ isn't a real fighty kind of person. So,
Yeah.
and
Let's just make for
Anosh is
cataract.
gone.
Okay? After 2 days of travel, you're most of the way to Cataract, but you enter the mountain passes. Can you make an awareness check as the night begins to set? And did you say you were traveling only at night?
That was a suggestion. I don't know when we're traveling. What about you, Adwold? Or Erik?
So that seemed like a reasonable option to try and avoid too many bandits.
Okay, well then let's have those awareness checks as you're waking up.
Of course. I am not surprised.
Okay.
So just how
failed.
fucked are we?
So, by the time you're like setting your campfire to get you night breakfast cooked and prepare for your journey, you look up and at the edge of your fire there's someone standing there, and he like raises his hand and holds it up in a fist, and a bunch of smaller fires light up along the mountain pass, and it looks like men have just lit flame arrows. There are 6 flame archers, 3 on either side of the pass. Or they're basically like showing their positions by lighting their, flame torch. And the man says, "Now who are you that you should come by my pass? Keep your hands away from your weapons, if you please."
Civ, you're better with these types.
I don't think I am.
So, what type do you think I am?
A man who enjoys these sorts of negotiations. And
Are we in negotiation for something then?
I'm trying to ascertain that myself right now.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
I know not, thus I ask.
Shouldn't you be introducing yourself first, as is polite in your country? Yeah, Civ, you have heard of this man. His name is Cossin the Pumice Stained. I don't know why that would be so funny, but okay. Cossin the Pumice Stained has gained a kind of notoriety as a trailsman in the north. He's basically like an extortion artist. He finds people traveling through the passes and it offers to guide them safely through the area for money in exchange for not beating them to death. But more importantly, he enjoys fine apple juice from southern Britain and apples from France, and he takes the pumice of the apples afterwards and just like chews on it. So it often gets in his clothing, which is how he got the name of the Pumice Stained.
And what was his main name again?
Cossin. C-O-S-I-N-E.
We're Knights of Salisbury. We were originally a part of an escort leading a band up north to Cardwell for a wedding. We have since begun going down back to Salisbury, and I believe my apologies for not seeking you out, Mr. Costin. Was it?
Cossin.
Costin.
No,
Sorry,
me.
I've heard some tales of you. Yes. And how you bravely lead knights through bandit-infested terrain.
Ah, so you know that this terrain is very bandit-infested. Aye.
Yes, I don't know how it is now, though. How much do you think it is now?
Oh, very infested. Isn't that right, boys? You can hear, like... It sounds like there's way more than 6 people. It could just be the voices bouncing off of the past echoing, but it sounds like there's many more than 6 people out there in the night.
On that note, how well armored do they appear to be? And we're not in our armor, right? Because we're...
Yeah, you
Because
were
we
asleep.
got
They're
kind of-
all in,
Yeah.
like, night leathers, so it's, like, pure black-dyed leather armor. So, about what you would expect your average mercenary to be, not a bandit.
Got it.
Certainly not good enough to, go into siege combat, but more than enough to take the field.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that stands out, I think, is that while many of them don't have shields, they all have steel swords. Whether they're carrying a bow or some other equipment, all of them have swords of steel, which means that they have to be at least that wealthy. So, Cossin, the Pumice Stain, is like, well, I don't mean to interrupt your dinner here, sirs, but it seems to me that you could use a fine escort as far as, say, Ibaracum. Some years ago, there were Salisbury Knights in Ibaracum for negotiations with the Saxons. I was terrible. I remember the Saxons chased them right out of the town, led by Germain the Dragon, they said. Now Germain's in Salisbury, is that right?
It is. It's been quite a long history leading up to this point. It's very peculiar.
Very strange.
Tell me, what of your rates?
Ah, my rates, he chuckles. He's like, well, why don't you tell me what you think it would be worth to get you safely to a nice, safe city like Ibaracum?
Where is Ibaracum, for the record?
It's in Malahut, so it's right around
I'm
here.
pinging.
Okay. And the only real bandity area is up here and, well, the tribute area.
Yeah, the tribute area, you didn't actually see any bandits out, you just heard a lot about them.
Alright.
Any bandits that would have been there were probably being pushed away by outriders.
Right.
So your escort probably had like horsemen riding in front into the sides of your group to scare people away.
What do I feel would be a normal, like a legitimate escort for this kind of thing?
I don't know.
Mm.
What is your life worth to you?
Well, admittedly, because if these characters die, it'll be a new one. Not crazy amount since I just started, but I think that's Adewald's thing to answer, actually.
You're like, yeah, I could die, no problem.
I don't want Civ to die because I have a plan for him, but
Probably.
I will point out, if your equipment is not recovered, it's going to cost 40 pounds for your next night to be knighted.
I'll
Probably
be
10 pounds.
I'll just play as a squire from now on.
You're like, ah, well, I don't have any equipment. Ah, taste the wrath of my borrowed sword.
How about offering 10 pounds and
I just
out
wanted
of
your actual.
pure coincidence, Adewald actually just planted like 5 orchards worth of apples, so he'll send him my first batch of.
You just planted 5 orchards. Is that like okay?
So, yeah, you offer him 10 pounds, and can you
And-
make an awareness check, both of you, with a plus 10 to this?
Mm-mm.
Let's see if anybody can nail a crit. No, but you both see him, like, raise his eyebrows. He's like, 10 pounds? Do you shit gold? Ah, for 10 pounds, I'll get you through here. And you say you have a first batch of fresh apples from the south.
I
Are they red jennies? Red jenny's my favorite.
believe that was what one of my manors, my steward planted at one of my manors.
He's just like, hi! And everybody's like, yeah! His men, like, after hearing that, they're not even holding position. Like, the guys with the flaming arrows, like, put the arrows out, and you can hear them, like, sliding down the rocks. And, there's, like, 20 people around your campfire all of a sudden, and they're all, like, high-fiving each other. And, Cosin is like, ah! For 10 pounds, I'll take you all the way back to Salisbury.
Which would be necessary, actually, because I doubt Adewald or myself or Sir Marcus, the still asleep, have 10 pounds on us.
You just see Marcus, like, drooling, like, he's still drunk from the wedding 2 days
Also,
later.
would make it hard to deliver the apples otherwise, because I certainly don't carry them on me.
Allow them to escort you so you can put on your armor, then kill them on the trip when they are out in the open.
Well, part of the benefit of this was that we were given the chance to see that there's like 20 of them, on top of the fact that I don't think we can betray them now that Adewald is in agreement.
Yeah.
It's
So,
not very honorable.
so I'll take the advantage, and hey, if we can get an escort all the way back, it
Yeah.
helps.
So, outside of Catterick, once you're south of Catterick, you're approached by a couple of bands of, like, desperate, hungry, former peasants turned, like, traitors. Not traitors, what's it called when you leave an army? A deserter. Yeah, you're set upon by, like, a gang of deserters, and then they see that Cosin is escorting you, and they all, like, back off. And the leader is like, Cosin! You're leading this sorry lot of knights, the 3 of them. That one's still on his horse drunk. And Cosin's like, they pay me 10 pounds. And they were like, whoa, shit. We're not messing with anybody who paid 10 pounds to get through this area. And that's pretty much how the rest of your journey goes. Just you eat food along the way. People occasionally come out to threaten you. Notice that you have like 20 people with you. And they're like, nope, not going to mess with that.
All right, so I'll deduct the 10 pounds.
I'll put in 2 pounds. I'm not rich like you, but I also wasn't the one who suggested 10, but I went to you for that because I didn't know what to suggest.
So, Adewald is at 6,100 glory. I don't want to lose him. So I was kind of willing to spend the money.
All right, you didn't just spend 8.
Yeah, so, all right, did that.
Before we see coasting off, I'd like to just kind of hear his tales of um, his other escorts, basically, see what he has to say, and also remark the fact that we were obviously able to see that we could have gotten a lower offer, but hope that this is a good